Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another edition of Miami Revealed. My name is Frank Michel, your host. Again, today is June 10th, 2024, and I have, again, my very good friend, Max, who is running for mayor of the city of Miami in 25, even though he's run before, and obviously, we know politics of Miami, and the position has been stolen from you. Just like it's been stolen from me or anybody else that wants to run a fair and legal campaign. Welcome back, Max.
Thank you.
My pleasure as always. Again, the little cortadito. Max, you're an intelligent person. You do your homework. You're a businessman. It's shocking the amount of shootings, and we've spoken about this before. But I want to get into it a little bit more because this is not a coincidence.
It's not.
This is a trend.
It's a trend, and it's not just one neighborhood either. Today was Liberty City. Last week was Little Havana. The other day was downtown. Brickell high-rises, Midtown, you name it. There are gun shootings everywhere, and right now they say they have ShotSpotter installed. Well, what is that doing? That's not doing anything. Officers aren't getting there on time, and people are still getting shot in the city of Miami. What can we do to stop that?
Well, I'm going to liken this to the ShotSpotter thing scenario. Let's go back, and when even that system was being installed, what did they do? What did the City of Miami Commission did in addition to that? Well, they installed punish you red light runners cameras. Remember that? Nobody. I didn't meet one single citizen that said we need that. I didn't meet one single citizen that would have voted for that. I didn't meet one single citizen that hadn't been either snatched by the cameras themselves or a friend or relative. And the city of Miami was hauling in just on the, what do they call it, when they pay them back, almost like paying a bribe, but it isn't, their percentage, what they're entitled to from the tickets. And the city of Miami was raking in over $1 million by punishing us for running red lights, supposedly running red lights.
And how does that apply to shootings and guns?
Because, again, that shooting system was installed more or less at the same time they did the cameras.
Yeah.
And you know that somebody had to sell it to the city of Miami.
Yeah. Someone had to make money.
Somebody's company that has somebody's friend, that has somebody's lobbyists, say, wait a minute, if they're going to install the shooting thing, let's do the camera things too.
And that's fine, but once again, the ShotSpotter technology is not an issue, is not a piece of equipment that prevents these things from happening. It's an alert. It lets you know that something's happening. Our goal needs to be to have police officers in those areas when those shots go off so that they can address the situation to the best of their ability.
I agree 100%.
Okay.
I agree 100%. But, look, we're going to go back again to, you're only as good as your leadership. If your leadership is not a true leadership, you see them, and everybody sees it on the news, they're either under investigation or they're being sued for the right things, mostly for abusing power, or are being incarcerated for money laundering, witness tampering, you name it. You have a guy that you ran against and lost to that has spent $25 million of our taxpayers' money going on vacation with guy friends.
To Qatar, to Dubai, to the World Cup with David Beckham, all over the world, and had time to run a 1-year-long presidential campaign.
Yeah, but
And that guy owns the police. That's the sad thing about all this. That person can hire and fire a police chief not based on his merits, but instead of just 2 words he used and 3 people he implicated. And when you have that type of control over people, the people will never feel safe.
And that's correct, because that is called totalitarianism, okay, or communism, or let's call it what it is, a terrorist. Because first of all, the city charter does not empower the mayor or Francisci to hire or fire anybody. The city manager does.
True.
The mayor of Miami has only one power, and that's called the veto power.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else outside of that is a violation of the city charter and is a misdemeanor. Now, who's going to prosecute? Because we have a do-nothing state attorney that needs to go away and retire because she's completely corrupted, either by action or by association. It doesn't matter. She can't prosecute anybody here.
She needs to go because Tallahassee has abandoned Miami because of her.
Because you're absolutely right, and and that's a good point, because we're going to go back to the regular street cop, right? They're watching what's going on TV, and they talk to each other, and hey, look, this commissioner just got indicted for money laundering. Hey, look, let's not even go too far. Hey, look. One of the mayor's assistant that he hired himself, that Francisci hired himself, man, he's a pedophile, and he raped a kid in the mayor's office.
He fondled the kid in City Hall.
What's the difference between fondling and raping?
Because I don't know them and I'm just saying, my point is that is disgusting behavior.
It is disgusting behavior.
But it's also become part of the toxic culture that is allowed and why things continue to be the way they are. You cannot have the same people, the same last names, and the same characters running a city and expect anything to change.
What is it that Freud said, everybody's a fraud here, but that Freud said, what is the definition of, I don't know if you use the term crazy?
Insanity.
Insanity, and what is it, Max?
I believe you can't expect to do the same things over and over again and for anything to change.
And expect a different outcome.
Exactly.
So right there and then, you have the same people, like you just mentioned, and that's why I recalled it. You just mentioned it, that it's always the same people, the same names. Look right now.
I'm just going to go out there and name names. Carollo, Regalado, Reyes, you name it. All the same names over and over again. De La Portilla.
De La Portilla,
Yeah.
the biggest criminal, scumbag I've ever met, okay, and I thought Carollo was bad, but you know what? He keeps getting elected. Why? Because he keeps committing voter fraud. He pays everybody $100 to buy their ticket, their votes, and they go to the elderly centers, people that are barely alive, and he takes his little mafia people and convinces all these elderly people, oh, vote for this guy. And then he goes and spends millions of dollars on TV shows, putting me down, putting you down, putting everybody down that's not part of his little mafia.
Not only that, just not to cut you off, but to enforce everything that you just said and the people that you call mafia, like, it's dangerous because they are using city jobs such as public servants, police officers, firefighters to do these types of things, and that creates an even bigger distrust between people and the government when you have firefighters and policemen working on behalf of political candidates, if you want to call them that, to get votes from people who can barely wipe their ass by themselves.
Well, and here's the thing, okay, you're absolutely right. The sad part about it is that these people, the firefighters, the civil servants, the cops, they all work for us.
They do.
We are their boss, we pay their salary, and when they screw up, we have to pay for their screw ups. Like, look at Carollo, $65 million verdict. All right? And then he has the audacity to want us to pay for what he did.
Yeah,
DeSantis should immediately remove him,
you should.
just on the fact that he wants us to pay for the horrible things he's done.
Come on, Ron. I mean, you can
Yeah.
you can remove De La Portilla, but you can't remove Carollo. One's costing the people $63 million. The other one is just an asshole.
Wait a minute, $63 million, that's the verdict. What about the attorney's fees?
Okay, I'm not even gonna get started on those fees because now we're talking a lot of money. The point is that guy needs to be cut off and put away from using the city of Miami as his bank account any longer. And that is the case with most of those elected commissioners because they have familial ties, because they've had insights to the bank account of the city, they continue to abuse it for years, and that's why we're currently experiencing all the chaos that we are.
Well, look, the city of Miami, every single year, is broke. It's bankrupt. Every single year.
It's a business.
Now, it's a horrible business.
So it's
It's being mismanaged to the maximum possibilities ever.
danger of being unincorporated.
And well, I think that might be the best solution. And then you touch on the cops. Throughout the entire nation, every single police department has become militarized. By the way they wear their uniforms, everybody is wearing a flak jacket. What's a flak jacket? It's a jacket that they used to use on bombers in World War II, so that if you got shrapnel and it hit you, it's so dense and sturdy that it wouldn't, it wouldn't harm you.
Pierce you, yeah.
All right. So now, instead of a nice professional uniform, clean shoes, fingernails, clean shaven. Every cop out there looks like, with that beard, looks like, and in that jacket, with all those weapons.
It's almost like the Unabomber.
No, they look like Taliban.
Yeah.
They look like Taliban with those damn Mediterranean beards. They look like an invading army from Cersei. I mean, are these public servants? Are these peace officers, or have we now decided to turn over and let our government use our cops, because they're our cops, we pay for them, and to control us?
How many times have they weaponized the city of Miami police force against you personally?
Oh, every single time. Why? Because, well, let's just make it real simple. I'm the guy that brought all the information to the FBI, where the former police chief, Donald Warshaw, another criminal, embezzled and stole $100,000 from the Children's Do the Right Thing fund. And finally, after somebody committed suicide, they believed me, and they arrested him, and he's a convicted felon. But also, there were 21 other cops that I went to the FBI against that were planting guns, stealing drugs, stealing the drug dealers' money, and finally the FBI caught them all for planting guns on unarmed people and threw them all in jail. Now, if you're a cop, and once you take that oath and you go to that police academy, either you turn and become mentally brainwashed to be it's us against them, or you're not a cop. You're not going to last.
The code.
The code cannot be violated. And what's the code? No matter what happens, you can never rat on another cop. Even if he's a criminal. Even if what he did was the most horrible thing you could think of. Can't rat on him. I'll give you a great example. Well, look at the 21 that, because, the information that I gave to the FBI and finally other people under subpoena had to testify and they all went to jail. All right, but, did any one of them talk about any of the other ones? Not one of them. Not one of them. You know why? Because they all knew, well, we're going to get convicted, but it's only a year.
Yeah.
And look at all the money that we've embezzled. Hey, the river cops, not one of them ratted any one of them out. And they all had millions of dollars stashed, knowing that after they got it that 1 year, they were going to come back and have all that $1 million stashed somewhere and live happily ever after. However, if you're a cop and you rat another cop, your career is over. And that is unfortunate because that's why it has become so easy for dictators and megalomaniacs to weaponize our public safety people.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it makes it real easy. It makes it real easy. When money controls everything, yeah, absolutely.
Well, but the money is ours.
No, I know. But when people are stealing it and people are getting cuts, the people who are getting the cuts are going to do everything to tie up loose ends and make sure they get theirs.
Max, how do we put an end to this?
How do we put an end to this? We got to clean house.
And by cleaning the house meaning what? There's only 2 ways to get rid of these people. Well, 3 ways. One is get them indicted.
Okay.
And they're doing a pretty good job on their own right now. So they're making it, that part they're making it easy for us.
Not difficult.
2, vote them out of office.
No.
That takes a lot of money. Or 3, well, you know what number 3 is, I don't have to say it. And nobody here wants to even do that because we all want to be good citizens. Not one of us wants to, have to hurt somebody else because they're destroying our nation.
Okay, yeah, I'm not part of that.
I'm not part of that either.
I'm not part of that plan.
I'm not part of that plan either. But the reality of life is that's the way it is because we see it in every single country around the world.
But back to what you said, Tallahassee, Catherine Fernandez Rundle, you eliminate her, you start to bring positive change that reverberates all the way down to the city of Miami, so that when you finally do clean house in whatever way that you choose to, you are able to do so, knowing that the most up top will hold them accountable.
Well, I guarantee you one thing, and if tomorrow DeSantis or somebody removes Fernandez Rundle from that exalted, non-deserved pedestal of corruption that she has, I guarantee you that if we have a fair election or the governor installs a prosecutor from out of here, I promise you that the next day everything here will change dramatically. There will not be any more of these shenanigans. The shootings will go down because when I was a sergeant, I held my squad of police officers, I had 7 of them, accountable and responsible for their sector or their area of coverage for the increase, but more preferably for the decrease in crime in that area.
Yeah.
Because I knew that they were doing their job and not just turning around on the phone talking to somebody.
Miami's a violent and dangerous place full of those types of people, and they need to be able to do their job knowing that their fellow officers have their back and that they have enough manpower to overcome so many situations, especially in a political climate where people are very, very against the police. In a city like Miami, the police really needs to be organized in order for the city to function properly, safely, and have a long future.
Well, and again, that goes back to morale. I haven't met one single cop that's told me that they are happy at work. Not one of them. Not a single one. be friend of mine or not friend of mine, it doesn't matter. The last thing that I got to mention on Max is that, you know, in order for people to have pride in what they do, they have to have a feeling of some kind of partnership or some kind of investiture or some kind of feeling of ownership. 90% of all City of Miami employees do not live in the City of Miami proper. Therefore, they don't pay taxes here. But they pay taxes in Homestead, Coral Gables, Kendall, Miami Beach, Hialeah, Pinecrest, wherever, but not here.
That's an interesting number, 90%, because 90%, only 10% of City of Miami residents vote.
There you go. So how do we expect anybody to have a desire or the feeling of ownership or participation or a stake in a place that, first of all, let's just talk about cops. They come here and all they do is deal with bad things 10 hours a shift. And they can't wait to get out of here and go home to their suburbs where they don't have this mess. So, you know what it is? You sit in the police car, you watch your watch. Oh man, I can't wait for this 10 hours to go by. And then I'm out of here. So, you know, there's no real incentive for any of them to do anything. And their leaders, well, they don't care. But you know what? I don't want to leave this on a bad note. I want to leave this on a note of Max, your vision. And I know you focused on the police officer. As mayor, what would you like to do immediately to try to change that morale and mentality?
I would eliminate personal protection and give the city $360,000 to go figure it out and get enough police officers out there, because I don't need anyone protecting me. I'll walk around with a Kevlar vest or whatever I need to do, but you're not going to be camped out in front of my house while people are getting shot on the streets of the city.
You know what? That is a true patriot. Max, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
God bless America, folks. Don't give up the ship. We're not sinking. We just got to roll hard. God bless you.
God bless America.